This is Boxing UK with Eddie Hearn in Newcastle. Have you enjoyed Newcastle this week, Eddie?
Oh, I loved it. I mean, loved the atmosphere. It's kind of like, you can put on a good show, but the truth is, it's complete potluck as to whether it gels or not. And, you know, you saw tonight, I was watching a Secchi against Summers, thinking, I was really thinking this was going to be a good fight. And it was a bit of a stinker, and I was thinking, oh no. Anyway, Savannah Marshall steamrolls her girl. Joe Laws comes out in a 4-round bar brawl. And then Cheeseman Fitzgerald, although it wasn't the war that I thought it was really intriguing. It was a high-level fight. I thought Ted Cheeseman boxed brilliantly. Fitz came back from the death in the last 4 rounds of that fight. And then the main event was just brilliant. Special fight. You know, I mean, after 4 rounds, I was thinking, I cannot see how particularly Robbie Davies can stand this pace and these left hooks. And then in the middle parts of the fight, I started to think, you know what, Robbie Davies is going to come on strong here. And then Lewis Ritson came back in the fight. The 12th round was epic. And I thought Lewis was brilliant. You know, I really feel like he's come of age tonight, especially at 140 pounds. Much more robust, much better engine. He's improved so much under Neil Fannin, who deserves a lot of credit, because I think I said to him, I got in, that was your best performance of your career by a mile, and a really big moment for him.
Yeah, we've just spoke to Lewis upstairs, and he said it was a great opportunity in front of his home fans to put the record right after Patera last year.
Yeah, that was a bitter blow. You know, I remember sitting up in the changing room after that fight with him, just thinking, you know, I was trying to tell him that everything was all right and you'll come back, but really I was thinking, fuck, like we've just blown it. Like you had it all up here, you know, with these people who are so special and just support you till the end. And that's what's so amazing about him, is because they have kept supporting him. He's come back with a couple of wins. Then he's rolled the dice again. They've come out and they've sold it out tonight. And then, now look at it. I mean, what's next? St James's Park? Like, really, it's up to them. You know, it's up to Phil, it's up to Neil, it's up to MTK, it's up to Lewis Ritson. If they want to go into the winner of next week at St James's Park, I'm all up for trying everything to make that happen. That would be epic. Epic. I mean, this city would go nuts for that fight. But he also has the option to box in February, you know, come back, get another win. Good fights like, I don't know, Chris Algieri, and maybe take a fight in America. I don't know, but I just feel like he's on a really big run there. And when you win in a fight like that, it's great, because you can win in a poor fight, and people go, do you know what? I love Lewis Ritson, but he ain't great, is he? Like, let's be honest, he ain't. Now they've watched that and gone, do you know what? He might be able to win a world title. Go on, son. You know, so.
He's told us the price for Josh Taylor.
Has he?
He has. No, that was to call him a melt.
Oh right, go on. What's the price?
4 houses.
How many?
4.
4 houses. Yeah. How much are the houses worth, though?
Depends where he's living, Eddie.
I think he can make 4 houses out of that. You know, he should do. I mean, look, everything's related to how many we sell. How many can we sell at St James's Park? For me,
52,000.
I believe so. I really believe so. I mean, you've got to pay the champion. But I really believe that if Josh Taylor was to beat Regis Prograis next week in a thriller, Josh Taylor against Lewis Ritson at St James's Park is pay-per-view every day of the week, and it sells 52,000. So probably make that 8 houses is the answer to that.
Right, we'll tell them that.
Yeah, they actually don't tell them. Yeah.
Just the rest of the card, Eddie, very quickly. Savannah Marshall, we had a quick word with Peter.
Time now, you know, it's time for her, you know. And it's tough because there's such a massive level between where she's fighting, which is basically the rest of the division, against the world champions. Like Alicia and Napoleon, good fighters, you know, like tough fights. And you kind of want to give her a bit more experience, but there's just no one out there to give it to her. So I think she's good enough. I think she's got enough amateur pedigree to take this step now, and I think she should fight for a world title early next year.
Would you bring that up here to our home area?
She should box, you know, she should be boxing for major fights on Lewis Ritson's cards. Like, she got a great response tonight. She absolutely loved it, you know. But it's time. I don't want her to get bored. I don't want people to get bored of her in fights like that. She needs them because she's got to do the rounds, but she's ready.
Fitzgerald Cheeseman, that was a great fight. We did see Ted Cheeseman storm out the ring pretty much as soon as the result was announced. Your thoughts on that?
He wasn't happy with me either. I told him the truth. I felt like it was a draw, and I felt like he gave the last 3 or 4 rounds away. He was in total control. I mean, he was boxing Scott Fitzgerald's ears off. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. He almost no-massed him at one point. It was like he was just so dejected. And I think Michael Jennings put a rocket up his arse and said, win these rounds. And he kept backing him up. I mean, the one thing that he did do is back Cheeseman up for a lot of the fight. So if you're a judge, do you like that? I felt that, honestly, if anyone was going to win the fight, it was probably more likely to be Ted Cheeseman. But I had it a draw. So could you give it to Fitz by 1? Yeah, you could have. But not by 3 rounds as well. I just couldn't see that scorecard. But, you know,
there was a few scorecards questionable tonight, wasn't there?
I mean, the Oseki against Summers fight, I mean, how on earth... Yeah, Marcus McDonald, by the way, is a really good official. How can you give... He gave every round, right? Every round to Lawrence Oseki. Yeah. But that's one thing. But then how can another guy give it by 4 rounds to Ricky Summers? That's a 14-round swing. I mean, when have you ever seen that, you know?
That's your area of expertise, Ed, I'm afraid.
I haven't. But, I mean, it was a bit of a stinker, to be honest with you.
It was, and for Lawrence, a local lad, it's his opportunity on Sky.
I told Steve Roth, you know, he said, what do you think? I said, I thought it was terrible. You know, not terrible as in, like, Lawrence Oseki's never boxed at that level in that atmosphere. So I don't mean like it was, I thought the fight was terrible. Like, you can't get that opportunity and box like that and expect to just, your career to go rocket. You know, like Steve said, do you think there'd be a rematch? I went, who the fuck wants to watch that? There's still a future for Lawrence Oseki, but not that fight. I mean, would you want to see that again? Really? You know, like, they should be kicking it, they should both be kicking each other. Because they both should have tried harder to win the fight. Lawrence was too happy to hold, you know, but he's learning. And it was a big moment for him, like, crazy atmosphere, like, everything. So he's still got a big future in the sport. I just have to be honest with you, it was a poxy fight.
Maybe the styles didn't gel, perhaps.
No, but you've got to try and win the fight. You've got to let your hands go. You've got to get the mix right between being entertaining and winning. Because the truth is, if you want to be a star, if you want to put bums on seats, you've got to be entertaining.
Speaking of which...
This is what I'm saying about Joe Laws, which is the next question. I've just said to him, if you keep fighting like that, you're going to lose, right? So, I know you're a showman, I know you're a joker, I know you're really popular, great, but now you've really got to try and develop as a fighter because you'll get beat otherwise. He's not as silly as he looks, by the way. Like, he knows what he's got to do, but he's got huge support and he's exciting. And look, you know, I mean, imagine him against Conor Benn up here. I mean, sell the whole fucking place out. But he's got to get better, and he will. He works hard.
Couple more, Eddie. Next week.
Yeah.
Big fight. Yeah. I mean, obviously after this weekend we've got the interest locally with Ritson.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk through next week's card?
Yeah, just a huge card. I mean, you got Conor Benn, who we talked about there. Do you know a fight that's probably gone under the radar is Lawrence Okoli against Ngannou, European cruiserweight title, brilliant fight. Another fight that's gone under the radar is Ricky Burns against Lee Selby because of the whole show. You know, that fight is an arena fight in itself, main event. Then you've got Derek Chisora against David Price. I mean, God knows what's going to happen in that fight. It's an absolute heavyweight domestic war. And then you've got Prograis Taylor, which is arguably the fight of the year. So, I mean, that cannot be anything but a 12-round or late rounds, in my opinion, brutal war. And I can't wait. We've
been to the quarterfinals and the semi-finals up in Glasgow, and that's a potential, like I say, fight of the year for sure. Can I just ask on the Chisora Price fight, Eddie? Do you think it's the end of the road for the loser?
I think we've seen that so many times with both of them, haven't we? And they keep coming back. So I just feel that in the heavyweight world, you're only one win away ever from a big fight. So it depends how you lose. You know, if someone got flattened in a round, it's hard to come back for. If it was a 9, 10, 12-round war, then who knows?
You've probably been no doubt asked loads of questions about AJ Ruiz. So we'll skip that one very quickly. But any news on the undercard?
Yeah, there's going to be all the announcements next week. I mean, Povetkin Hunter is done, so that'll be announced as the co-main event. Trying to close off Scott Quigg against John O'Carroll, which I believe will get made as well. Sissoko against Sam Eggington, a possibility. Hrgovic on the card as well. So the whole card will be announced next week.
A right to reply, Eddie. We spoke to Frank Warren last week in regards to the KSI Logan Paul. We put the controversy of whether it was good for boxing, whether it attracts fans. First of all, he said, I need to take it up with you. His opinion is it's nothing better than a white collar fight. Probably won't attract a new set of fans. I think he likened it to Piers Morgan against Jeremy Clarkson.
Yeah, I saw that. I mean, very difficult when they've already boxed in front of 20,000 and done 1.4 million pay-per-view buys. So how you can say it can't attract new fans? I mean, all of them are new fans. It's our job to try and keep them. Listen, it's one of those things. If he was doing it, maybe I might say something like that. But I'm doing it, so he's going to say something like that. The truth is, if he could put a show on at the Staples Centre that would attract as much interest as that fight, that would attract as many subscriptions and pay-per-views, as much ticket sales as that fight, he would be knocking one out. But he can't do it because he ain't got a clue what... I don't think he even knows what YouTube is. Do you know what I mean? So, like, he certainly don't know who KSI and Logan Paul are. So, you know, as Derek Chisora said, young man's game. Yeah, but you can't knock Frank Warren. He's a trier. He's a trier, the boy.
Yeah, I know Derek said it's a young man's game. We also asked Francis Warren.
Yeah.
And he said he wouldn't put on crap like that when it endangers people's lives.
Yeah, well, he's done a lot of it so far. But I like Francis Warren. He's all right. I actually get on all right with him. I think Derek's right. I really feel like Frank should give it to Francis and George. You know, they've been, like me, they've been around the sport for a long time. You know, I'm not going to talk bad about these people. We just do business in a totally different way. So, again, look, if Francis was doing the fight, he'd be creaming himself, saying it was the greatest thing since sliced bread. He's not. So, obviously, he's going to talk badly about it.
Last one, Nigel Benn, comeback. Your personal thoughts on that, particularly after the week that we've had?
Yeah, my personal thoughts are, when people talk about a white-collar fight, like, the reason that we're doing what we're doing, i.e. making it not a white-collar fight, is to make it safer. You know, is to make it more credible, is to bring greater medical care and drug testing into play. The Nigel Benn fight, they're not really doing that because I know they've brought in a board, but it's not a British Boxing Board of Control. It's not fully licensed because they wouldn't license it.
It's the same body that gave Danny Williams a fight against a guy.
Well, yeah, there you go. But listen, as I've said in my other interviews, I have unbelievable respect for Nigel Benn. Obviously, we represent Conor. I have no right to tell Nigel Benn what to do. He knows himself, he knows his body. Do I want to see it? No. I don't like it. I don't like their beaker fight at all. And I don't get it. But for me, he's a legend. You know, he's one of my favourite fighters. And so he's made the decision. So I respect that decision. It's not for me. But KSI, Logan Paul ain't for other people either. So ultimately, people are going to do what they're going to do, but I will always make sure that my events are licensed in the correct manner and we make them as safe as possible.
Eddie, we hope we get you back to Newcastle soon. I'll see you next week at the O2.
Cheers, mate.
All right, take care.
Thank you.